Hey there, this is the Solving Equations with Radicals video lesson. Today's learning target is I can solve an equation that simplifies to x squared equals b or x cubed equals b, where b is a real number. What that means is that we're going to be solving equations that look a little complicated. They might have x in them, they might also have x squared and x cubed, or maybe even x to the fourth. But when we finish solving, we're only going to end up with x squared equals a number, and the other variables will cancel out. So even if it looks really complicated on the way, it will end up only having one x term left when we're done. So right now you're watching the video lesson, so I'm not going to read this part out loud. Let's take a look together at number 1. Whatever you see me typing in red, you should also write down on your paper. Number 1 says x cubed plus 9x equals 1/2 times 18x plus 54. That looks pretty complicated. But once we get rid of those parentheses, it might be a little easier to work with. So let's go ahead and distribute that 1/2 to make the parentheses go away. So that won't change my left-hand side of the equation, and that's all right because I'm not altering the value of the equation. I'm just simplifying one side. 1/2 of 18 is 9, so 1/2 of 18x is 9x. And then, let's see, 1/2 of 54. Half of 50 is 25, therefore half of 54 must be 27. All right. If you notice, both sides of the equation now have 9x as part of the equation. So the next logical step would be to subtract 9x from both sides. You don't need to write out those words. You can just write minus 9x if you want, whatever works well for you. But that's what we're going to do. So when I do that, on the left-hand side, I get x cubed. And on the right-hand side, all I'm left with is 27. So like I was saying before, the 9x's disappear, right? Even though I had x and x cubed, which was a little complicated, now that I've subtracted, I just have x cubed equals 27. So at this point, I need to figure out what the cubed root of 27 is. This is something that's helpful to know. It's helpful to memorize some smaller cubed roots. But if you don't know, you could type into your calculator 27 to the 1/3 power. Or you could use the x root button. But the way I prefer to think about it is just saying, hey, what number times itself 3 times is 27? And let's think about that. I know that 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And that 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So x must be 3. It's always a good practice to check your work. So let's check our work right now. Our original equation, x cubed plus 9x, that's going to become 3 cubed plus 9 times 3. Let's see what that equals. 3 cubed I know is 27. And 9 times 3, hey, that's also 27. And 27 plus 27 is 54. Excuse me. 27 plus 27 is 54. So now we just need to check that the right-hand side also simplifies to 54. The right-hand side is 1/2 of 18 times 3 plus 54. So plus 1/2 of 54. So what I've done is I've split that 1/2. I've distributed it through my parentheses already. So let's see. 18 times 3 is 54. So we're looking at half of 54 plus, well, the second part is half of 54. So if I take 2 halves of 54 and add them together, obviously I do get 54. Since our left-hand side and our right-hand side are equal, this does, in fact, confirm that x equals 3 is the solution to our equation. So at this time, if you're comfortable with what we just did for number 1, try moving on to number 2 on your own, and you can go back and check your answer later. I'm going to create videos for number 2 and number 3, and they'll also be posted in this playlist. So you can just follow along. If you're like, what just happened? You can either watch this video again or watch number 2 and then number 3. And when you're done, I'd like you to try the back of this worksheet on your own. If you have any questions while you're working or while you're watching the videos, please feel free to comment them on the video, and I will do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. Good luck.